It was the usual library haul and then reading recommendations. It was different this week because I wasn't able to go earlier this week like I normally do because I wouldn't actually been able to go anyways. But even to pick up the books I wanted to because we had COVID and it kind of can't go out, but they were able to do it by mail. It's nice. It's just 2 books. There was supposed to be a movie too that was supposed to be in here, but it's not. I think it just like it was too. Well, actually, I know because it went out on Friday, so it wouldn't have even gone through anyways. The first one up is one I didn't think I would ever get because the first time I put it in, it didn't go through like at all. It was like, nope, we don't have it, and it was the same place too. But that is BPRD Plague of Frogs. I want to see what library this was. And that, I guess, doesn't really matter because it doesn't... Huh. That's weird. I should have had it. It's a library I recognize. And then Inhumans vs. X-Men, which is conveniently enough the follow-up to... What the hell? $50. How is that... Oh, because it's, like, bigger. But, like, 6 issues. Sorry, 7 issues for $50. Ha! It's by Jeff Lemire, too. Nice. That's pretty expensive. It's like ridiculously. I think it's because it's bigger than it's like an oversized hardcover. I'm doing it. Comparing it to my softcover BPRD, but that's not the best way to do it because BPR that's a regular ass shopkeeper. Okay. So, sorry, it was emails. Okay, now it's reading recommendations time. No, don't know why I said it like that. Right here, right? Yes. First one up is Low, and you guys already know how I felt about that book. I loved it so much better than I ever. Because I read it like 4 times, and like the first 3 times I was like, no, I don't like it. And the fourth time I was like, what the hell is wrong with me? How could I not like that book? And now I'm hooked. And I got the 2 hardcovers. The second one's hopefully coming in tomorrow. I hope, along with the other items. But yeah, I told it. I have the first book. But I'll get a second book tomorrow. It's the hardcovers too. That's how much I like that series. Because the library had the first 4 volumes, but not the 5th one. And I could have just got the first 4 at the library and bought the 5th myself, like on Kindle or whatever, for a much cheaper price. But those hardcovers are it's one of those things you kind of like. If you can get the hardcovers, you should get the hardcovers. It's like an omnibus, how it could go out of stock and be twice the amount that you paid for it. So if ever the library has all 5 volumes, I'd probably get rid of it. But even then, I probably wouldn't. But yeah, loved it. Hooked. I'm hooked on Recommender now, which is good because I love almost all the books I got for my birthday haul are all recommenders. In fact, the only one that hasn't come in yet is just Low Book 2. Death of Wolverine. It wasn't bad. This is a complete collection one. I liked the original 4-issue miniseries. I have that. The regular collection that just collects the first 4 issues of that. I always had that, but I wanted to read the like spin-offs and what have you. And it was just like always that thing I wanted to get, but never did because it was way too expensive. And I'm glad that I got it at the library because I would have been pissed if I had spent $40 on something that was just okay. It wasn't bad, certainly not bad, but it wasn't like exponentially great either. Some of it was good. It was very hit or miss. I found out afterwards because it didn't tell you right at the bat. You had to go to the table of contents to find this out. Each issue seemed to be written by a different person. Death of Wolverine was Charles Soule, and then the first spin-off was all Charles Soule. But then the second one, it was one each author like wrote one. Like it was one was James Tynion. I probably like that one the most. I mean, I'd recommend it if you find it on sale or whatever. Or if you're completist. X-Men. That was the. Well, it's actually 2 X-Men ones here. When I feel like now I feel like I'm forgetting something to write I wrote it down. But the first X-Men one was the Death of X, and that conveniently enough was the prequel to it seems to be at least the prequel to Inhumans versus X-Men, or at least a spin-off, whatever the hell. It's part of the death of it's part of the Inhumans versus X-Men storyline, like the whole saga fucking thing like that, something like that thing. It could be like a tie-in, I don't know, but it felt like it was a prequel. It wasn't bad. I liked the Jeff Lemire stuff, the X-Men stuff, a lot more than the Inhuman stuff. But even at the end, I was kind of sick of all of it, and I'm glad that I didn't get the Inhumans versus X-Men right after the fact, because it'd probably be tainted. You know, like oh, I'm gonna read this now. But now I'm excited to read it because I'm waiting to read that book. And then Wicked and the Divine, Volume 4. It's a reread, and I liked it a lot. I liked the same. I've always liked it. It's a damn good series. It's not for everyone. It's very it's probably the furthest from a book you'd expect me to read that you would expect. The furthest from like you'd be like, oh yeah, you'd reread this book, read that book, but you'd never expect Wicked and the Divine. It's not for everyone, but I would recommend it. Just check it out. For first volume, it's like $10. Actually, the first issue was free, I think, on Kindle. So there you go. TMNT. I did not solicit the second volume because I might just get the hardcovers. There's like 14,000 of them, but I'll probably just do like because I'm Justin the Completist, and yes, I am thinking of changing my YouTube name to that. But Justin the Completist, who always wants to read, you know, all the issues. Like, I want all the issues of a series. I want all the volumes of a series all at once. For the most part, if I can do that. But for TMNT, I can't. It's like 800 for all those, and that's a little bit. It's a bit much. But I really liked the first volume. It was. I was really reluctant to start on that series because I really liked the original Mirage comics TMNT. This is the IDW series I'm talking about. The original Mirage series was everything I wanted in TMNT. It was dark. It was different enough from the comics and what you expect from TMNT today. It was very Frank Miller-esque. I just loved it. And when I said it like that, and IDW thing, I thought it'd be too silly, but it wasn't. It was still pretty. I mean, it's pretty silly, but it wasn't like too silly. It wasn't too over the top. It was not as dark as the Mirage comics, but it was probably darker than the kids show now, obviously. Yeah, really enjoyed it. The Goon. I wish they had the second volume of this because it was another reread that I was like, what the hell was wrong with me? Why didn't I like it before? And the only thing I didn't like about it was this is more me. This is a huge ass nitpick. This is more me than the actual book itself. But I forgot a lot of what happened in it. I would be like, oh yeah, what did happen in the last issue? And I was like, I forget. And I was having to flip through it and I'd be like, I only partly remember this. So, and I think that was just me. It was the same way with Hellboy, and it was also Dark Horse, also coming out around the same time as The Goon, and it has the same kind of feel. So I think it's just like one of those things. But Hellboy is just like a lot more involved. Like there's a lot more going on. So you kind of like you're trying to remember everything, and you can only remember certain things. That's why I'm gonna get those. I'm thinking of getting those Hellboy omnis. Conveniently enough, the next book is Hellboy. The movie I really enjoyed, and the Green Knight movie, I thought was just okay. It was kind of. I was glad that when it was over, honestly, with Green Knight. But Hellboy, I really enjoyed. I will definitely be soliciting the second DVD, the second movie on DVD, next time. Wait, next time? I don't know, but yeah, I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would for Hellboy because I've heard the first Hellboy like has a lot of issues, and more people recommend the second movie than the first movie. And I know I kind of have to read you kind of have to watch the first movie to know what's going on in the second movie. So I was kind of like obligated, and I was like, yeah, but I was glad it was good. I saw it. The Hellboy Weird Tales was weird because it wasn't none of it was written by Mike Mignola, and you felt his absence in all of it. It wasn't some of the stories were good. Some of the stories were some of the stories were very forgettable, but none of them were like super terrible. I liked almost all of them, and it did not have a second volume, so I'll probably just get those two. Actually, I can't get this first one. 'Cause the first one's out of print. Oh, the second one's out of print. One of them's out of print, I think. Death Oh, I see what I did. I did Death of X. Okay, so Death of X I already talked about. But the other X-Men one, the Cullen Bunn one, yeah, was super stutter. I really enjoyed that one. That was exceptional. I I didn't think it'd be good at all, and it was very surprising. It was surprisingly good. It's one of those it's one of those X-Men books that, while it doesn't feature the X-Men that you know, it's like it's different people. It's like, I don't want to. You saw the cover. It's like Magneto, all the villains. It seems to be like it's kind of different thing like that. No, it's an older book too, so if you're an X-Men fan, you probably already know about this, anyways. But it was really interesting. It was felt different. It felt like it was a reason for it to exist, and lot of surprising twists actually. Well, one I remember. Definitely gonna get volume 2. Uh, oh yeah, Dark One. That was just so okay. It got a little voice cracked. It got better as it went along, but that first issue was just very boring. It was kind of like, I feel like a first draft book. Like Vault Comics was like, yeah, we'll just take your book. I don't care if it's the first draft or not. And then they printed it out, and it was the first draft. It was a very first draft book. I keep saying first draft. That's pretty much all I have to say about that one. I liked these, like the world building, but it just felt like it was, again, a first draft. It needed a little bit more padding. Blankets by Craig Thompson. There's a reason why everyone loves this book, and everyone absolutely adores this book, recommends it to everyone, and says that it's one of the best graphic novels of all time, because it is. It is insanely good. I didn't think I'd like it. I thought I would be like, oh yeah, that was all right, but I wasn't expecting anything like how good that was, and it got me interested because they have he has a crisis of faith because his upbringing. I'm not gonna give too much away because his upbringing. I was interesting. Usually I don't like. Not that I hate the religious stuff, but I'm never a huge fan of it. Like, if I heard that was part of the book, I probably wouldn't have gotten it. That is the sole reason, and because it was by Rick Remender, why I got that Strange Girl omnibus. Because it was Rick Remender's take on religion. I was like, okay, let's check that out. I really liked how it was handled in Blankets. Yeah, written by a different author, but I want to see Rick Remender's take. It's different. It's obviously different. Rick Remender is a post-apocalyptic rapture shit, and Blankets is a memoir. But I wholeheartedly recommend Blankets to everyone. It's honestly worth. It's $30 to buy it in softcover, and honestly, I would say it's probably I think it's like 15 on Amazon. I would say buy it if you have the money to spare. Hell, get the hardcover. FLCL Omnibus was pretty good too. Probably one of my more favorite mangas, but it was all in one, so it was nice too. It was kind of a weird ending. I didn't understand it. A lot of it I didn't understand. It was very I feel like, I mean, it's manga in general for me, but it was a lot going on. Ronin by Frank Miller, very good, but very involved. I feel like it was 2 stories in one, and they could have done one story here and the other story there, and they could have I mean, they did do that, but I feel like they didn't need to do what they did because it made the book very confusing, and a lot was going on. You kind of felt like you're like, oh man, I wish I knew what was going on because I could really appreciate this book. I probably will end up rereading it again soon, pretty soon, not pretty soon here, but definitely be rereading that one. Doctor Strange and Dracula, the Montesi formula was just bad. I didn't like it. And what's weird is that I like Roger Stern. I don't mind the 80s and late 70s, 80s, even the 60s Silver Age Marvel. But I think it has to be, for me, a character I know well. Like X-Men, I'll always pick up an X-Men from a Chris Claremont X-Men. I'll always pick up a Spider-Man from the 70s, 60s, and 80s. I'll always pick up, even Dazzler I will pick up. What was the other one? I don't know if I can think of the other ones. But characters that I know I'll pick up. Fantastic Four. I'll pick up that too. Actually, I still want to get those Stan Lee omnibuses. But this one was just different. I don't know why. I don't know why I felt like it was marginally different, and it was so much more boring than I remember it. Not remember it being. I haven't read it before, but so much more boring than I thought it would be. Whatever the hell. It was just not my thing, I guess. I think I would like Doctor Strange, more modern take on Doctor Strange, because the problem with it back in the day is they had to explain what was going on in the artwork. Sometimes because you couldn't see it, like you couldn't understand it yourself, so they really had to explain because they had limitations too, and that really hinged it. The pacing was off because of that. I think that was the main thing. But yeah. So we're gonna do the other Wolverine one. What's that one? Shit, what was the other Wolverine one? I liked the Civil War one. That was pretty good. The Spider-Man one was pretty good too. A little disappointing though, but only slightly. But that's because I think I had ridiculous expectations. I feel like the thing about that one was J. Michael Straczynski. I feel like he lost what he was trying to do. I feel like it really should have just been Spider-Man, Aunt May, and Mary Jane, and the whole Iron Man thing was just in the background. Or even that too was pretty good, but I feel like it got too wordy at times, and it was too involved with things I already knew. You know, it's like I already know what happened because of that Civil War. Green Arrow Volume 1 was terrible, but it was new 52 Green Arrow. What do you expect? Steed and Peele was the most boring book I've ever read in a long ass time, and it was Grant Morrison, which sucks because Grant Morrison could have put so much flavor into this, and he was like, eh. Jujutsu Kaisen, good as ever, and Hellsing was also pretty good. And that is it.